Hey y'all, welcome to our podcast, Love Speaks Volumes,
where we seek to bridge the communication gaps in our relationships.
We are your hosts. I'm Louise, a certified marriage counselor and certified sex therapist.
And I'm Mika, a defense lawyer with over 20 years experience.
We are mothers,
wives,
sisters,
and friends.
And together, we are Black Diamonds 2.0 Entertainment. We are strong,
resilient,
powerful,
beautiful,
but never flashy,
pressured, but unbreakable.
Are you a Black Diamond?
If so, wear your title boldly and proudly because you deserve it, my kings and queens.
How are all our Black Diamonds doing today? What's going on in our relationships? Let's talk about it. This episode is being sponsored by Sinfully Delicious. We're sitting here with the owner of Sinfully Delicious. Tell us a little more about your company.
Well, Sinfully Delicious is my little bakery. And I started baking from my grandmothers. Used to bake with them when I was smaller and love to do it. It's my stress reliever. And so many family members and friends just love the goodies that I fix. And so they've urged me to do this, open up my little bakery. So I've done so.
Awesome.
So it's Simply Delicious, where, hey, it's simply good, but heavily inspired.
Listen, how can the people order one of those delicious cakes?
Well, you can look on my Instagram page, but call Simply Delicious. Or you can call me at 980-288-8387.
Give them that number one more time.
980-288-8387.
Listen, guys, I have tried this product for myself, and I have not had one thing that did not taste absolutely delicious. So check out Simply Delicious. That number again is 980-288-8387. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
We are back with another episode of Love Speaks Volumes.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm Louise, and I'm here with my co-host,
Mika.
And we have a topic for you today.
Yes. So what are we going to talk about today?
What are we going to talk about today? Oh, y'all, it took us a minute to come up with it, but we got a whole list of things. So you want to make sure you stay tuned.
Absolutely.
But for today, we're going to focus on, are relationships tough? And should they be?
That's the part. That part right there. Mm-hmm. Should they be?
So, friend, tell us how we even came up with this topic.
Well, actually, I was listening to, and I don't know if you saw it, and I don't know if some of you all saw it, but I saw a little reel on Chris Rock. Chris Rock was doing part of his stand-up, and he was saying, hey, relationships are not tough. He said, it takes, with one person trying to move a couch, can't be done. It's hard. But two people moving a couch, it can be done. So he was saying, hey, relationships are not tough. And, and that sparked something in me. I was like, I'd be damned if they ain't. So, shit, mine is sometimes.
I just tell you, it's rough out here in these relationship streets.
So, it really did. It was a topic for conversation, in my opinion. Are relationships tough? So I did, I asked my husband, I was like, honey, do you think relationships are tough? And he was like, no, I don't think they are. And I was like, what? What do you mean you don't think they You don't think they tough? He was like, no. He said, I think they can become tough if people are not, if each other are not, how did he put this? Are not actively trying to meet each other's needs. So if you're not actively communicating and you're not actively trying to meet each other's needs, it definitely can become tough, is what he said. So, just keeping on with what Chris Rock said. Chris Rock said, hey, relationships become tough when people start competing. And he was like, hey, we should not be competing. Your success should be my success. My success should be your success. And while I don't agree with him necessarily that relationships aren't tough, I think a lot of things make relationships tough. I do agree with him though that, in a relationship, we should not be competing.
Right.
Right.
Agreed.
So we should be in each other's corner, not
Right.
just in our circle. We should be, if we're in a relationship, we should definitely be in each other's corner. So I should be, I will tell y'all this. My friend is the loudest one. She always will be cheering for you. It doesn't matter if you are in her group of friends, she is going to be, whatever happens in your life, that's good. She's going to be the loudest one out there. But that's what you're supposed to do in a relationship, right? You should be cheering the other on. You should be happy for them. So you should not be competing. What do you think about that, friend?
Well, I talk to a lot of couples about that same thing, and I use the football analogy because a lot of the men, they can understand that. When we're on offense and we're on the same team,
yeah.
everybody's on offense.
Right.
When we're on defense, and we're on the same team, everybody's on defense. But if you on offense and I'm on defense, we are not on the same team.
Somebody about to take somebody out.
That's
right?
a problem. That's a problem.
Definitely is a problem.
And that whole analogy is so applicable to relationships just because at some point I might be the coach, my husband might be the coach. At some point I might be the owner, my husband might be the coach. Sometimes he might be the owner and I might need to be the coach. And just knowing that dynamic is always there as long as we're on the same side of the field, running for the same goal at the same time. And so I totally agree that we should not compete with one another, not in money, not in my view is better than your view.
Right.
I know more than you, any of that.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Like you were saying, sometimes he has to be the coach. Sometimes you have to be the coach. I think relationships are like that. There's some give and take. And sometimes I may not be at the top of my game and you may need to lift me up or
Right.
vice versa. But always we should be each other's cheerleaders.
That's right.
So that's what I think, he was saying about not competing. We're always cheering for each other because your success is my success.
Absolutely.
So I definitely agree with that. But I do like the football analogy. We should be on the same team always.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that we always agree.
Yep.
We always should have the same goal in mind, even though we may have a different way of getting there. But again, it's not about, like you said, friend, it's not about who's right or who's wrong. And the conversation shouldn't be about who's right and who's wrong. The conversation should be more about not competing, but understanding.
Right.
Right.
So, and if I also understand what my position is on the field and I'm running my position and playing my role to the best of my ability, we might win.
We sure might, friend.
We might actually get in the end zone.
I actually like that because honestly, sometimes we're better equipped for different roles.
That's right.
Right. And so I always say, stay in your lane. Some things we are better equipped with or better equipped for in our relationship. So like for me, I'm more of a communicator. My husband doesn't communicate as much or he communicates, but he communicates in a different way than I communicate.
Right.
But if it was to be, hey, we need you all to give a speech, I'm probably going to be the one giving that speech for us. You feel what I'm saying? So we have different interests, and we have not only different interests, but we have different, what's the word I'm looking for, friend? We have different
roles, responsibilities.
Right.
We have different parts to play in a relationship. And my body might not be built to be the quarterback.
That part.
I might be too short, not fast enough to be a wide receiver.
Right.
But whatever my gift area is, if I ride that role out, then I'm doing my part to make my family a success.
Right.
I think the same thing for my husband. Like, what is your role? What are you built for? Are you built to be a quarterback? Maybe you don't need to be a quarterback.
Yep. Now I will say this, that's certainly true. We all have different qualifications. Like for instance, I'm the cook in the house. My husband is, he can grill his ass off, but in that kitchen,
Right.
that's my avenue. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't mind that because I know I'm good at that. And so, but when you try to step over, well, I'm gonna be the cook today because I want the accolades of people saying my food good.
Right.
But you can't cook.
Ooh,
So I'm gonna need you to
sit on the bench.
Yeah, stay in your lane and cheer while I do cook.
You might need some
what I'm
pom-poms today because I'm not going to eat that.
That part. Now, when you out there on that grill, I'll let you do your thing. Go and get smoky, baby. Get out there and get
smoky, baby.
Smoke it up and get smoky. I'm cheering you on. I'm looking from the window like, woo-hoo. That smells really good. We gonna throw it down when you finish the ribs. But you feel what I'm saying? So I'm cheering you on. So we gotta cheer each other on. Your success is my success.
For sure.
Now, another thing he said was, we should both be each other's servant. When we're in a relationship, we should be in a service industry. So you should be serving me and I should be serving you.
Right.
Now, I'm going to tie that a little bit to what my husband said, like that we should both be seeking out to fulfill each other's needs. So I think that is akin to what, Chris Walker was saying. So I do agree with that. We both should be servants. But I think also that's where the relationship starts to get difficult when both parties don't understand that. Right. I don't think every relationship you have two servants that are seeking to serve one another, as opposed to you have a giver and a taker, right? And so you have one that's always giving and you will have one that's always taking, as opposed to both being givers and we're both receiving. You understand? So I think that's part of the thing that makes relationships difficult. What you think, friend?
Yeah, so I love the servanthood aspect of what he said because that's kind of what I do. I'm in serving my community, serving at my job. I serve my friends because I think that's my gift area. I like to serve and help others. I do believe that there are certain qualifications of someone who is willing to serve in a relationship. Like, number one, you got to be able to listen.
That's a good one, friend.
Because
that's a good one.
Can I take your order, please?
That's a good one.
I want some nuggets and some fries and a drink. So you want a chicken sandwich?
That ain't what I said.
And some tater tots.
Yeah, you didn't hear me.
And some Kool-Aid.
If that's what you brought back, you didn't hear me. You won't listen.
I need you to really listen to me.
Right.
So you can even meet my needs. You can't meet my needs if you don't know what I need.
That part.
Which means we need to communicate.
Right.
Which is what we talked about.
But part of communication takes two, right? It not only takes two, but it takes two parts to that. That means somebody is talking and somebody is listening.
Yes.
So you cannot have effective communication without somebody listening,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
So I totally agree with you, Free. I totally agree. I mean, you got to be listening.
When you're communicating and everybody yelling,
that ain't effective communication.
Well, and that whole restaurant analogy comes up again because it's like, well, if you were sitting down at a table, a very nice restaurant, and the waiter comes up and says, "Can I take your water, please?" Would you want that food?
I'm going to order you to tone that down and stop yelling at me. That's what I'm going to order you to do.
That's exactly what happens in a relationship. Like, wait, pause, what? We got to bring it down a bit because sometimes we a little too crunk.
Absolutely.
Maybe you need to just take a time out, go gather yourself, and then come back and say, "May I take your order, please? It's my pleasure to serve you." But sometimes we don't feel like that. And maybe that's why relationships get tough.
Yes.
I don't feel like it because I'm mad. I'm upset.
Right.
I don't want to. I don't like you.
Right this moment, I do not like you.
I love you, but I don't like you.
That part. That part.
Kick rocks.
Give me a minute.
Right. Maybe a week.
Not a whole week, friend. Oh, Lord. Woo!
Downstairs, Cletus. Downstairs.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, you might need a space, but I don't know if you want to take a whole week, Fred.
Look, sometimes people need a week. I need a week. We can revisit next Sunday.
Oh my
And
God.
y'all know I'm telling the truth because
Oh,
some of y'all
Jesus.
stopped speaking to your people for a week.
Now, that
2
is
weeks.
true. I'm getting better, but I have done that. I have gone and not spoke for 4 weeks
See?
straight. It just depends on, the stupid shit you do. So you done something real stupid, and I'd be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
this. But I'm so much better, friend. I'm
But
so much better.
sometimes you
'cause,
need to take a time out.
Yeah, but we can't take 4 weeks, because what I realized is life is so short, and
is.
so you got to get over those, those conflicts much quicker and get back to loving and liking
It's
people.
not always
You got
that
to.
easy.
It's not, but you got to work on it, friend.
I know. But,
Yeah, practice makes progress. Not perfect, but progress. So
there's always that remnant. And then
Yeah,
you
we
see that little hint of that same thing showing up later after they say, I'm sorry, it is never going to happen again. That little remnant come up and it's a trigger.
Yeah.
And it take you all the way back to 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then you lose it all over again.
Yeah, but we got to work on that. He or she got to work on, not leaving them remnants behind. Clean it up. Clean it up the first time and do better.
It might take some Jesus because I think it's going to take some grace and mercy.
That part. But it also going to take some accountability, right? Some self-awareness.
Yes.
Some self-accountability,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, yeah, if you know what you're doing and this is, you living foul right about now, clean that up. Clean that up.
What if I don't know if I'm living foul? Because that's a good, I just thought about a conversation I had just this week. And when someone isn't self-aware, like they don't realize that what they're doing is irking their partner's last nerve.
Now, is their partner communicating that this is working my last cotton picking nerve? I mean, it is because I think it takes two. It takes two to communicate. So if that person is doing something that is working your last nerve, then it's incumbent upon you to communicate that because otherwise it's just going to fester and it's going to get worse and it's going to get worse. Every time they do it, it's going to dig in. So you need to communicate that. Now, once you communicate that, if your partner, your significant other, decides, hey, because at that point you're aware. You're aware I don't like that. You're aware this ain't cool for me. This is I don't appreciate what you're doing. And if that person now is aware because I've made you aware, and now you decide, now the ball is in your court, right? You have to decide whether or not you're going to continue that that behavior or whether or not you want to adjust to be able to meet my needs.
Well, what if they don't believe that what they're doing is all that bad?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that you don't feel like it's bad. What matters is how it impacts me. And I've told you that. I've told you that I don't like it. Right? So if you really care for me and you really want to make sure you're meeting my needs, doesn't matter how you feel about that activity. It matters how that activity makes me feel.
I'm just thinking about this because I'm trying to think of, I have tons of situations that I could bring up.
Give me one, friend.
I'm going to bring up one, and this is hypothetical, but it is a real thing that I actually do, and it did get on my husband's nerves. But it took me a while to fix it. So I hate shoes. I don't like shoes. I don't like to wear them. I like to be barefoot all the time.
Okay,
so the first thing...
We can't do that. It's raining right now. So friend.
I wear them because I have to.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
cool. I have to outside.
Gotcha.
Sometimes. Depends on if I'm on the grass.
Whew. Just an aside, I had I'm telling you, it's just something that's popped in my head. But talking about not wearing shoes on the outside, I had a client. And actually, no, her boyfriend was my client. But his girlfriend, she, I don't even know what she considered herself, but she never wore shoes. And when I met her, she said, I have not worn shoes in 5 years. That's outside, inside, anywhere. And she talked about how her feet, with the earth and, and all of that. And I was like, girl, what? Yeah. Did not wear shoes, had not worn shoes. She was in court with no shoes on, dead of winter, no shoes, nothing. And it was about something about being grounded with the earth. And I was like, to each his own. But boo, ooh.
Mine is not about being grounded. I'm just country.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It just popped in my head. But go ahead. Get back to what you were saying. Get back to what you were saying. So you don't like shoes.
I don't like shoes. And as soon as I walk in the door, the first thing that comes off are my shoes.
Okay.
I drop them wherever I stop because I can't stand them. I just want them off my feet. I want my feet to be free.
Okay.
And so we were doing this activity where you say, I notice and I would prefer. So this was like a sentence.
You and your husband were doing this?
Me and my husband were doing this. He said, I noticed that when you come in the house, you drop your shoes wherever you stop. And I would prefer that you pick them up and put them to the side so I don't trip over them.
Okay.
Now, that's not a big ask at all, right?
The man don't want to fall, friend. Okay.
I get it.
The man don't want to fall.
And I was like, oh, sorry.
It's like the kids picking up the toys. Pick up the toys and get up and
push them to the side. Okay. It's fine. I will. And then I would do good. And then I would stop. And then I would come in the house and just drop the shoes wherever they stop. Maybe I'm in a rush. Maybe I'm running somewhere in the house to go do something or grab something or grab the phone or whatever. And I would run, go do that. And the shoes would be left there again. And he would say to me, I noticed that I prefer. Because there were a couple of times he almost took a couple of spills, because I just dropped them wherever. Because my mind is like, I just want to get these off. Now, was it my intent to trip my husband? Was it my intent not to listen to him? Was it my intent not to change for him? No.
But the impact was the same, friend. He still almost tripped.
Intent
and impact is totally different.
I know.
So you have to be
how it's hard.
Right? It's hard.
It's a habit.
Yeah, but you have to be intentional about breaking that habit that hurts somebody else. Because even though that wasn't your intent, the impact is the same on him. So it may not have been your intent to make him fall and break his leg, but that impact would have been the same if you had left them shoes there and he tripped over and he fell and he broke a knee, he broke a leg, or what have you. Feel what I'm saying? So you have to be really intentional about making that adjustment.
So I did, right? So I
Good for you, friend. Go, friend.
I did. And I, my shoes don't end up in the middle of the
I was about to say, I've been to your house. I ain't never seen those shoes in the walkway. Okay, cool.
Because I've worked on this. I've been working on this for years.
I'm proud of you, friend. I'm proud of you.
However, let's just say that I looked at him and said, I get it. I dropped my shoes in the middle of the floor. I drop them in the middle of the floor. Why don't you just walk around them?
So here's the thing.
Now, I never said that to him.
Please don't.
I don't think it would go over well in my house.
Yeah, please. I don't think it's going to go well in any relationship, to be honest, friend, because...
However, but people do that. They're like,
they do.
Well, you know who I am.
But doesn't make it right.
I'm just saying, you know who I am. You knew who I was from the beginning.
Doesn't make it right, though. Doesn't make it right.
I think that's that can make a relationship really tough.
When you have somebody who, one, who's not self-aware, that can make it tough, right? But in this instance, they are aware and they've chosen or decided they don't want to adjust or don't want to change.
They want you to change for them.
They want you to change because they're self-centered and they cannot see in and of or don't want to see beyond themselves, right? But at that point, they probably need to be of themselves and by themselves because you don't want to be in a union. Right. You want it to be all about you. And so you need to be with you.
I think that is a real thing. I have heard it. I've heard it in the therapy room. I've heard it from friends. And it's like, you knew who I was. You knew who I was when you got with me.
But see, they need to stop that. Because whoever they're saying that to, their comeback always needs to be, but doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. Every time, but doesn't make it right.
And what if they say?
But it doesn't make it right.
But what if they say, but it's right for me?
Then you need to be with you. It ain't no we if it's a me.
So I just want to say.
You need to be with you. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Go ahead and be with you.
I just wanted to walk down that road for a minute. Listen, I moved my shoes out the way because my husband asked me to do it.
But what I'm saying
But
is, it
for
can't be.
real.
It really cannot be one-sided. That one person is always making the adjustments, because that's going to make the relationship
Say that
very
again,
difficult.
friend.
You cannot have one person always doing the adjusting for the other. That makes a relationship really rough, and it only makes it rough for the person who's doing the adjusting.
Say it one more time for the Holy Ghost friend.
Yeah, what I'm saying, y'all, if y'all didn't hear me, let me
Please.
say this one more again for y'all in the back that need to be up in the front. On the front row, listening.
Say it to him.
With your hearing aids in. Turn up real
Turn
loud.
the volume up.
Cannot be just one person doing the adjusting all the time for somebody else in a relationship. We all got to make adjustments, right? We both got to be the servants. We cannot be always being the one who are adjusting.
Yeah.
Can't just have one person adjusting for the other all the time.
I love this part of this conversation because one of the things I try to empower people around me to do, and I've had to fight for my own, is have a voice. You have to have a voice to be able to say, this is what I want, and expect that
Or
there
need.
will at least be a conversation around
Right.
how can I get this, especially if it's a need that I need in this relationship for it to move forward.
Right.
But if you are really not being heard, not being seen, just kind of in this passive place, and that other person is so assertive and is forcing these adjustments down your throat so much, then Mika's right. Like, that person needs to be by themselves.
Yeah, because you're in a rough relationship.
Yes.
Rough.
And you deserve
And it
to
ain't gonna
be
get no
heard.
better if you the only one adjusting. It ain't gonna get no better from here.
Yeah, I want to turn everybody's microphones on
Real
and give you a
for
voice.
the people in the back.
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
bless.
because that right there, like, I could have silenced my husband and been like, you could just walk around my shoes. You need to make an adjustment. But that just sounds rude and mean
Yeah.
and not, and just
it
very
really-
inconsiderate.
That part, but it also suggests or says that you really don't care about me and you don't care about my feelings.
That's right.
That's what it says. It's very loud and clear to me.
Very
You-
invalidating.
Right. I care about my feelings, but I don't care about yours. I care about making me uncomfortable, but I don't care about making you uncomfortable. That makes for a really rough relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And the willingness to just be a little bit uncomfortable
Right.
is okay.
right. Absolutely.
It doesn't we don't have to always make everything so cushy around us all the time.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be
Be willing
so
to
convenient.
sacrifice. It comes at
Please.
sacrificing.
Just a little bit.
Be willing to sacrifice.
You don't have to give everything away.
Right. Absolutely. But
Just
willing
a little
to
bit.
be in a little bit.
Like
for
picking the
yourself.
shoes up and put them up against the wall. Or
Simple thing.
Put them in the mudroom or whatever.
Simple things.
Just put it
Simple
aside
things.
so he don't have to trip and fall on his face.
Absolutely. So I think we both agree that we disagree with Chris Rock that relationships are not rough or tough.
Yeah.
Because they certainly can be.
They
There
can
could
be.
be so many facets of why a relationship can be rough or tough. So
Yeah.
I do feel like relationships are tough or can be tough. But I guess the next question should be, should they be though? I mean, if hopefully you're with the person that God intends you to be with, hopefully you are equally yoked. Of course, if you're not, all of those things can make a relationship much tougher. But if you are, like, should your relationship be tough? Should it be tough? Like people say, love shouldn't hurt, and I know definitely on a physical aspect, it definitely shouldn't. But you can get your feelings hurt sometimes in this love game. So love in that aspect does hurt sometimes. You can get your feelings hurt. You can get, disappointments.
Right.
Expectations aren't met. So love can sometimes hurt. But should it? Should it? What you think, friend?
I think it's going to take a lot of giving yourself, being self-aware, realizing that you have to make some changes to fit with another person, that you can't be single-minded in a union. or a committed relationship, I think it takes a lot. I do.
What about we change our perspective? What
Okay.
about we change the perspective of me as opposed to we? And rather than focusing on what I like and what we like, what I like and what makes me comfortable, I think about what we need, what we need to make this grow, what we need to make this better, as opposed to having a self, perspective on I like this and this is what I like and this is what I want to do and this, as opposed to what will propel we forward or us forward.
I think we need to be willing to have that we conversation, because some people
definitely.
aren't even willing to come to the table with the we. They come to the table with their list of demands, and the other person comes to the table with their list of demands. And it's not about the we, it's about let me see how much I can get for me. Because maybe I've been robbed for so long, or maybe for the past 10 years of the relationship, I feel like my needs weren't met. And so because now they weren't, then I'm going to give you my list and you either going to meet it or kick rocks.
Ooh, that's a tough situation.
It is.
That's a tough, but I would say if we've gotten to the point of 10 years of my needs being met, we probably should have had this conversation a long time ago, 10 years ago, as opposed to letting that fester for a whole 10 years. Because now is probably much harder to turn that situation around, because the person who has not been meeting the needs of the other person has gotten comfortable with not meeting those needs. And so like you're 10 years in and now you want to assert some needs. They're like, what? We've been doing this, why now? Why should I change now? So that conversation probably should have been had a long time ago. But what I would say for those people is all hope is not lost. If you're still in it, then we got to change some things up. We do have to do some things different. I do agree with you, friend. It has to start with a conversation and a willingness on both person's parts to make that change, and probably some counseling at this part.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably need to introduce a neutral party like my friend, right? Like Louise, call her, y'all call her, because y'all might need to have a neutral party in the room. And
maybe that neutral party shouldn't be somebody who is not a friend of the we.
Yeah. Oh, definitely not.
Because sometimes you go and you find that neutral party, and I don't mean in terms of a therapist, but that friend that is on one side or another, and they on the opposite team.
But that ain't neutral though, because I don't think that's too neutral.
But you know how some people say, "I'm gonna get this neutral party to come in,
I'm gonna get this third
it's
party,
my friend," and they come in to attack the other person.
Yeah,
y'all don't
that
do
ain't
that.
gonna work. That's not gonna
Let's
work.
not do that.
Yeah,
Let's find somebody
we
else.
definitely need somebody who is neutral.
Please.
To be able to affect some change.
But I love the we concept, because if we are thinking with that pronoun and we're going into it with that mentality, then we're going to go into it as if we are on the same team.
Yeah.
I'm not coming at you to knock you down or tackle you or take you out the game.
Right.
I'm here because I am your teammate. I'm willing to block for you. I'm willing to give you that right pass so you can get in the end zone. All of that. Like, I'm here to play my part and to serve you in whatever way that I need to serve you, not be in competition with you, which I totally agree with.
Right.
And really just listen, be intentional about meeting the needs of the other person. I think relationships could be a heck of a lot easier, because aside from all of those things that we impact in the relationship, let's not forget about all the things that are outside of our relationship that can impact our relationship.
Yeah.
And those are the things that we really can't control. We can't control if there's a tornado that comes in and, God forbid, levels our house, or a fire, or someone gets terminally ill, or you lose a family member. You know, there's crises all around us. And those things come into our lives It's inevitable. They're going to be there.
Right.
How are we going to deal with that?
Yeah.
So it's better for us to control the pieces of that we can control. Like I can control me. Mm-hmm. He can control him. Whoever your partner is can control them. And so now when we come together and that crisis hits us because we're on the same team, it's us against the world.
Right. Well, that's what we have to remember. We're on the same team. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying about the couple who may have been in it, or the parties that may have been in the relationship and this has been going on for 10 years, and 10 years I haven't been getting my needs met. Like I was saying, it's just a matter of changing the perspective.
Yes. So
it's not necessarily that we're on separate teams or anymore, or I want to change teams. No, we're on the same teams. I just want to change plays. So using your football analogy, we just got a different play to get to the same goal now. So that play, it worked for a while. Or it didn't work, worked or didn't work. Either way, we now want to change up the play.
Yeah.
We I don't know all the football. I could bring my husband. He could tell you all these little football analogies. My son can tell, these different plays. Yes. And so, but we're changing up the play. We're going to still get this touchdown in. That's what we going to do. We're going to get this touchdown, and we're going to just change up the plays now, though.
Yes. Because what we were doing before wasn't working.
Yeah.
It wasn't working. And it
might have been working for you, but it won't working for we.
Well,
that's the problem.
Guess what? If the quarterback is doing what they want to do, and we still got losing seasons after losing seasons after losing
seasons. He could be the greatest quarterback in the world.
He might be wonderful, but that line is horrible.
Right.
Yep. So, we're going to have to change some stuff up.
We on a team. Can't be just you.
We might need to fire the coach.
One person don't make a team. Hey.
We might need to fire a coach. And by coach, it might be an idea of what this relationship should be based on one person.
Right.
And maybe that ideal of what you think the relationship should be doesn't work.
Yeah.
Switch it up. Read a book.
Change the plays.
Google it. YouTube.
New play to get to that touchdown.
Even
new
TikTok
play.
Has some good relationships.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So, wow. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I like this one. This is great.
Okay.
This was great.
Well, hey, I'm just saying, if you guys agree or disagree, let us know. Yeah. Hit us up on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. Let us know your thoughts. Are relationships tough, and should they be?
Yes.
Should they be?
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love that we are talking about this, and we really hope that this really generates some conversation in your house, in your relationship, that you will talk about, hey, is our relationship rough or tough?
Yeah.
Why do you think ours is or it isn't? Like, what's helping us be successful?
Yeah, share.
We making it to the playoffs.
I know that, right? Share.
We about to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely share. If you're doing that thing and it's all going smooth, hey, let us know how you making it work.
Yes.
Because our whole goal is to help somebody somewhere at some point in time.
Yes.
So,
please.
Hey, if you can help us help somebody, let us know. Share. Well, we appreciate you guys.
Yes.
We appreciate you joining in, sticking with us.
Yes. And go ahead and cop this podcast on Apple Podcasts. We got Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify. We got iHeartRadio. We out here. So you guys go ahead and grab it, download it, share it with your friends.
Make sure you follow.
Follow, like, subscribe.
Absolutely. All the above.
Yes. And until next time, let's talk about it. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Love Speaks Volumes by Black Diamonds 2.0 Entertainment,